honest, true, deep dive into this stuff, where they're picking, Canelo and his team are brilliantly, and Mayweather did it, brilliantly picking guys that are really good opponents because they have an undefeated record and they got a belt. You want a belt? You want one?
I forgot my belt.
Sorry.
In New York, I had to buy my third belt this month.
Listen, Canelo speaks out loud. All right? We can get you one. So, they see a guy with a belt. They see a guy with an undefeated record, a guy who can box. Of course you can box. You're a professional boxer. You better be able to box. You're a professional pizza man. You better be able to spit a pie. All right? So, they see that and they say, oh, he's going to win. Like, you guys are crazy. Because at the end of the day, they're brilliantly picking opponents that can't win. They can't win. First of all, they're not going to get a decision. But forget about that part. You think you're going to get a decision over the golden boy in boxing that lays golden eggs?
If you think that, go watch the first Triple G fight. I don't care which fighter you like.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, what you just heard was well-renowned trainer, Hall of Fame trainer, turned colorful analyst, and host of a podcast, Teddy Atlas. He discussed what took place last Saturday night with now 4-division world champion, who's the undisputed super middleweight world champion, and widely considered by many to be the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, in Saul Canelo Alvarez. 57 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout, 31 years of age, standing 5'8" with a 70-inch arm reach, as he took on former IBF super middleweight world champion superstar boxer Caleb Sweethand Plant, who is now 21 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 12 wins by way of knockout, 29 years of age, standing 6'1" with a 74-inch arm reach. So it's safe to say Teddy Atlas is not overly impressed by the performance of Canelo Alvarez. Teddy Atlas, he also stated that you can clearly see that Caleb Plant wasn't weathering the storm. It was just a matter of time before Canelo Alvarez won the fight. He stated that he just didn't have enough tools in the toolbox. He wasn't committing to any of his punches. That's something I stated. And he stated that, Caleb Plant just had no opportunity to win. He's an undefeated fighter who's a champion and has he's a professional. So yes, he can box, but he has no chance to win the fight. So he stated that Canelo Alvarez is essentially picking and choosing his opponents where he knows he's going to be successful and win these fights and win these belts for accomplishments, for history, right? Because nobody's going to know and notice truly what took place in this era 20 years from now. When they look back, they're just going to see that he defeated an undefeated Billy Joe Saunders. They're going to see he defeated an undefeated Caleb Plant. They're going to see he defeated undefeated Caleb Smith, and he became undisputed in less than a calendar year. But they're not going to truly understand who these fighters was. And that's true, because on the flip side of it, when you look at guys' resumes like Floyd Mayweather early in his career, after he won the belt from Gennaro Hernandez when he was 21 years old with only 17 fights, it's the polar opposite. The guys he was fighting, like Angel Manfredi and guys like that, people don't remember just how good those fighters were or how they were perceived, okay? You only remember the big names that, are embedded in your brain and in your psyche. You don't truly remember those guys that Floyd Mayweather beat early in his career that were very, very tough customers, okay? Because you only remember the big names. So in reverse, to a sense, you can say that when people look back at Canelo Alvarez's career, they're going to look at Billy Joe Saunders, who was the undefeated 2-division world champion and the WBO super middleweight champion, reigning champion. You look at those guys and you're going to say Caleb Plant was the undefeated IBF super middleweight champion, and these are the guys he fought back to back. Caleb Smith was undefeated WBA champion, and you're going to look at this, well, he went through these guys back to back, okay? And they're going to reflect as better than what they truly were, okay, is what Teddy Atlas is getting to, okay? And if you look at Floyd Mayweather's in reverse, after he beat Gennaro Hernandez, he was 21 years old with 17 fights. He beat Angel Manfredi, Carlos Rios, Justin Juco. He beat Emmanuel Augustus, Diego Corrales, Carlos Hernandez. These guys, Jesus Chavez. These guys are not going to reflect in just how good they are in 20 years. Okay. But at the moment, they were very good fighters, okay? And so Teddy Atlas has never been truly fond of Canelo Alvarez's career, especially after Canelo Alvarez tested positive for a banned substance, Clenbuterol. Teddy Atlas, he feels a guy in Canelo Alvarez's shoes who stated that he ate tainted meat in Mexico, who's a 100 millionaire, he just doesn't believe that. So with that said, Teddy Atlas is stating that he believes that Canelo Alvarez should be fighting the best opportunity, the best opposition out there, and they're picking and choosing the fights that they can be successful in, okay? And so, but the thing about this is, when Teddy Atlas says this, and other people say this, they say that Canelo Alvarez is picking and choosing. And two-division world champion, undefeated WBC reigning middleweight world champion, superstar boxer, Jamal Lyons Only Charlo, 32 wins, no losses, no draws, 22 wins by way of knockout, 31 years of age, stands at 6 feet tall with a 74-inch arm reach. Does he truly present a tougher challenge for Canelo Alvarez than, let's say, a Caleb Plant? Because you look at his career, he beat a Austin Trout, he beat a Julian J. Rock Williams, but he's only beaten two champions that were champions by the time he fought them. Julian J. Rock Williams became a champion after he fought him, okay? If you look at Jamal Charlo, he struggled with in his last fight. He struggled against Matt Korobov. He struggled against Sergey Derevyanchenko. Okay, so you look at these fights. Is he a much tougher, stiffer challenge? Yes, Canelo Alvarez, when Jamal Charlo was at 54, could have fought Jamal Charlo. When Jamal Charlo was at 60, he was Canelo Alvarez mandatory, and he could have fought Canelo. Canelo could have fought him. But if you look at that's when they introduced franchise to the sport of boxing, when Jamal Charlo was Canelo Alvarez's mandatory. So he clearly avoided Jamal Charlo, clearly, right? But you see his fights. Juan Macias Monteo, he struggled in that fight. Looked like he could have been stopped in the fight. Sergey Derevyanchenko was his toughest fight. Now, he won the fight, unanimous decision, both of these fights, but he still showed vulnerability. Dennis Hogan was a mismatch. Brandon Adams, he couldn't catch up to. Really, he won due to his aggression. And Matt Korobov, prior to that, people thought Matt Korobov won the fight. Okay, so does he present a tougher challenge for Canelo Alvarez than Caleb Smith and Caleb Plant? Okay, then another person that everybody wants to see Canelo Alvarez fight or would love to see him fight is David Benavidez. Okay, who's an undefeated big super middleweight. Who people feel like Canelo Alvarez, and I'm one of those people, avoided because as soon as David Benavidez lost his belt on the scale, Canelo Alvarez reportedly petitioned, and it's on record, that he petitioned to fight for the vacant belt against Avni Yildirim, but he wasn't looking to fight for the belt when David Benavidez was holding on to the belt. David Benavidez, 24 wins, no losses, no draws, 21 wins by way of knockout, 24 years of age, 6'1" with a 75-inch arm reach, okay? He has a fight coming up this week against Kyron Davis. He beat Ronald Ellis, but Ronald Ellis was touching him. He beat Alexis Angulo. He beat Anthony Durrell, who I thought was outboxing him and winning the fight. And prior to that, he beat Jalen Love and Ronald Graville. Okay, Ronald Graville twice. And Ronald Graville dropped him with a jab. Anthony Durrell, I thought, was clearly outboxing him until he got caught and suffered a cut in his fight. Yes, he did cause the injury, and he eventually got, the knockout victory. But with that said, he's shown vulnerability. He's shown lack in defense. He's shown that, he can be beat as well. He was dropped with a jab, okay? So is David Benavidez truly the test that we believe him to be to give Canelo Alvarez the fight that we believe, he can, possibly lose? Is it a 50-50 fight, okay? Then we move on to, now, again, he's the two-time super middleweight WBC champion. So I agree that fight needs to be made. Okay. And again, I agree that he, chose the route least resistance. When David Benavidez had the belt, he would have to go through David Benavidez, but he chose not to go that route. So with that said, I believe that, that's a fight that needs to happen. Another fight that Canelo Alvarez clearly avoided was the fight with the 2-division world champion, undefeated WBO reigning middleweight world champion, superstar boxer Demetrius "Boo Boo" Andrade. Now, stylistically, I don't think that Canelo Alvarez and his team like that fight, okay? I think that they're hesitant about that fight because Demetrius Andrade is big, he's long, he's a southpaw, he's slick, he has power in both hands, 30 wins, no loss and no draws, 18 wins by way of knockout, 33 years of age, stands at 6'1" with a 74-inch arm reach as well. So he's the same size as Caleb Plant. He has a fight coming up, on November 19th against Jason Quigley. It's a Friday, okay? And so with that said, Demetrius Andrade is viewed as a guy who is very slick, has a decorated amateur background, is a very awkward fighter. He's a southpaw and could give Canelo Alvarez tons and tons of trouble. Now, Canelo Alvarez, he won against Triple G. He beat Danny Jacobs. He held all the belts except for Demetrius Andrade WBO title when he stated he wanted to be undisputed at middleweight, and he opted to not fight Andrade for the last belt and move to a different weight class. So yes, he clearly avoided Demetrius Andrade. But again, you look at Demetrius Andrade's last fight and the vulnerability he showed. Is Demetrius Andrade the guy that can test Canelo Alvarez and truly be a 50-50 fight for Canelo Alvarez? Okay, who knows? Okay, all of these fighters are showing the ability to wilt under pressure, okay, to fold under the pressure. That's what all of these fighters are seemingly showing us. Now, he can move up. There's another division, light heavyweight, where he beat Sergey Kovalev, who was vulnerable again. Sergey Kovalev was coming off a very, very tough fight. They didn't give him much time to recover, but he did become a 4-division champion. And that fight, let's be real, it just looked like it was staged. Sergey Kovalev didn't throw anything with conviction. He wasn't, assertive. The knockout looked funny. So there's just question marks surrounding Sergey Kovalev fight. But he did win the belt. Now there's 2 other champions there. They would love that the fans and myself would love to see Canelo Alvarez face off against, and that's Beterbiev, who's 16 wins, no loss and no draws, 16 wins by way of knockout. He's 36 years of age, 5'11" with a 73-inch arm reach. He has a big fight coming up December 17th against Marcus Brown. With that said, he's the WBC IBF's light heavyweight champion, and that would be a good fight. And another fight is WBA light heavyweight champion Dimitri Bivol, who's undefeated. And there was talks that he could possibly replace Caleb Plant when all of the negotiations was falling through. So with that said, are these 2 guys, they've both shown vulnerabilities. Dimitri Bivol and Beterbiev. Are they the guys that are 50-50 fights that you could say Canelo Alvarez is going to lose? Are they truly 50-50 fights? Who knows? Teddy Atlas, he believes that Canelo Alvarez is truly picking and choosing the fights that he wants, that he feels favorable with. Now, again, has Caleb Plant been proven? He had 1 big fight against Jose Uzcategui? No. Is Billy Joe Saunders proven? He had 2 big fights, Chris Eubanks Jr., and then he beat David Lemieux. David Lemieux was tailor-made for Chris Eubanks and his style, okay? So only one knows, okay? Callum Smith didn't put up much resistance, and Sergey Kovalev looked vulnerable. So he's going to have to fight, which is reported that he's going to fight David Benavidez in May, should David Benavidez get past his fight this upcoming Saturday. That could truly be the test that everybody's looking for. Cinco de Mayo weekend, 2 huge Mexican stars face off against one another for undisputed. It's enormous. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. But now you have Mike Tyson saying Canelo Alvarez is cherry picking. You have Andre Ward saying Canelo Alvarez is cherry picking, and now you have Teddy Atlas once again saying Canelo Alvarez is cherry picking. So let's see if David Benavidez or Jamal Charlo present the challenge that everybody wants to see Canelo Alvarez in. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Roll. Make sure you like your shitty videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
This is Amanda, the real deal Serrano, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.